Just to mention, I didn't update the PowerPoint like Coach Stusik did, so this is last year's PowerPoint template for us. You may see it in the next one as well too, so just an FYI. Again, I'm not a familiar face probably to a lot of you guys, other than seeing me at coaches clinics and so on and so forth. Coach McCauley just kind of gave me a brief introduction. Again, I've been a North guy for years, and made the venture down south during this whole change within the Saskatchewan Health Authority. Decided to move out of my old comfort zone of mental health and addictions and move now into working for 3S Health Shared Services, and was fortunate enough to be a part of the University of Regina Rams. So super excited to be with the Rams. Have coached with some fantastic coaches throughout my career, and always like to acknowledge them. When you're able to coach with Coach Brian Towers, that's one man that I have a deep amount of respect for. Tom Sargent was my area coach for years as well too. Tom is a great motivator, and I try not to be as loud as him, but sometimes unfortunately I do get as loud as him. You'll find out real quick that I'm super passionate about this game. I have a great amount of respect for this game because I feel that this game gave me a lot. And I'm not a guy that likes to say I lots. I might miss a little bit though, so I apologize on that. As well as some other coaches as well. Coach Bryce gave me an opportunity up here, and Coach Gray, and many of the coaches in the room that I've had an opportunity to coach with as well too. So what I'm going over today is defensive line skills and drills. Really, what this is based on is really looking at focusing on the minor to high school level. I find that if anybody wants to come out to our spring camp and shadow and watch, feel free to, if you don't feel like you get enough out of what I talk about today. But again, I really want to start building that grassroots up, because I feel that we get a lot of these young men and ladies that come up through the grassroots levels that are maybe lacking in some areas that we just want them to be really good at. So I'm very much a quote guy as well too. Maybe I seem to follow Coach Stusik in many of these events. So he's maybe rubbed off on me a bit. But again, a great quote that I like about this is that it's from me, Joe Green. Many of us know him. Great defensive lineman. Going after the quarterback is like playing king of the mountain. When you get to the QB, you're on top of the mountain. That's kind of what I like to talk about. This is like a street fight. We're going after this guy all the time. We're in a battle each and every time that the whistle goes. The young man that I put on here is Eric Wachowski. Eric was our team MVP at the University of Regina Rams last year. That's a defensive lineman. That's very rare for that to happen. That young man made leaps and bounds this past season, and he's going to go to the regional combine. Hopefully does some really great things there as well. So what I've kind of done off the first 3 or 4 slides is I'm really talking about what I'm looking for in a defensive line. Again, this transfers in different areas. When we're with minor league football players, we're not going to have a lot of physical toughness. They just want to play and be able to do what they do. So the first one is mental toughness. I really find that playing in the trenches in the defensive line, you have to be mentally tough. Because each and every play, you're going to get held. That's just something that's going to happen. We have guys running off all the time saying, man, I'm getting held. Well, you know what? Work through it. You got to get through it. Again, defensive line, you usually have all these guys in your group. You usually have like 14, 15 guys. You have to be mentally tough in there. You have to be able to last throughout the season. You have to work each and every day to get better and strive to get better. So we really try to focus on mental toughness in everything that we do. Physical toughness. I'm an old school guy. I'm sure many of you that know me know how I go. I'm all about physical toughness. I think you need to be physically tough to be able to play in the trenches, and that's something that we really look at, and I really look at as well too. If you're physically tough, it doesn't matter how size you are, what size you are. It's the dog in the fight that counts, right? Great example, and I'll use this young man from U18 this past season, Reese Kack, young, little undersized defensive end from Centennial High School in Saskatoon. We had a package where we moved him inside and played him up against the guards. He was tough as nails, quick off the ball, and did some really good things for us. And it comes down to him being physically tough enough to be able to hang in there. Outstanding work ethic and being disciplined. I think work ethic is something that we try to develop, and again, I try to pride myself with doing this with the group. And again, I'm just taking this group over from Coach Nesbitt. He was a great mentor for me for a couple of years, and now he's moved on, and I don't think I now with the defensive line for the U of R Rams. But I really want to work in that work ethic. I think we have to have a better work ethic. We have to do the little things right. Coach Dusik mentioned the little things. That's something I preach every day. We have to be able to be on time. We have to make sure that we're not getting counted by certain people. We have to just look after those things. being disciplined during practice and after practice, in school, in society, and in games. That's something we need to happen. You know, our players are under scrutiny. All the players are under scrutiny. Doesn't matter if they're in high school, right? One little thing goes wrong, where do they run to? The head football coach, the position coach. So-and-so is doing this at school. So-and-so is doing that at school. Who takes the heat for that? The coach does. What we want to be able to do is we want to be able to work on helping them be disciplined in everything that they do. You know, rewarding them for the great things that they do, but also, you know, disciplining sometimes for the tough things they do. And, you know, I'm not saying physically disciplining by any means. What I'm talking about is, you know, maybe an extra gas or those types of little things to look after that. I guess one thing we see now more so in youth sport, NCAA, CFL, NFL, all the different leagues across North America, is defensive linemen are now considered technicians, right? There's certain things that they're working on. You look at a guy like J.J. Watt. He is just a technician to the utmost respect. He just does everything that you can do to be perfect at his trade. And you know, he really puts the time in. He's a guy that I like to have these young guys model because he does all the right things. Again, a ways away from where we are, but if we can rely on those types of public figures to be able to talk to our young men about, that's something that I find that's really, really helpful. Being aggressive. Again, I touched on that earlier with physical toughness. I think that aggression in the trenches is needed, but again, I always respond to that as it's got to be controlled aggression, right? We can't be taking foolish penalties every 2 plays. We need to be under control on every aggressive thing that we do. But with that, it's going to come emotion. So we have to be able to handle the emotion that each of them have. Again, young men are very emotional, right? They're very emotional. They wear their emotion. A lot of them wear their emotion on their sleeves. That's just what we deal with now. And I feel that if we can help them maneuver that emotion in a game situation, home life, practice, school, they're going to be beneficial in that. Confidence, a lot, and all these high school kids, a lot of confidence isn't there. You look at a lot of the defensive line in high school, who do you get? You kind of get the short, chubby guy, right? You kind of get the maybe not so super athletic guy that maybe a little bit tougher. We got to help build confidence in them. We got to help make them feel like they're making a huge contribution to our team, to whatever they're doing. Again, we get to youth sport level as well too. We have to build confidence in a lot of our guys, right? Because they're going to that next level. Maybe say it's from high school to junior to youth sport. We want to make sure that they're confident enough to be able to compete and deal with all the little things that happen every day. So those are, again, some of the things that I really value in the defensive line. So, again, I do a lot of evaluation for under 18 and now with the U of R Rams as well too. And these are some things, coaches always come to me, so why didn't so-and-so make this team? And I usually kind of throw out this list and say, this is the reason why they're not making this team. Because maybe their stance isn't developed yet. Okay, maybe they're still learning this. Okay, so we're going to work on developing stances from a young person up to youth sport level person. Again, that's something that we're going to work on with our winter workouts and so on. We're going to work on our stances. We got to be better in our stances with the Rams. We got to do little things right. We got to understand: do I have to be in a jet stance and a passing down, or should I be in a balance stance and a run down? So those are the little things that we have to work on. Again, talking about violent aggression, controlled aggression. I touched on that briefly already. That's something that I really find that we need to focus on, is that controlled aggression. We can't have some crazy guy running around hitting people, kicking people, punching people, doing the things that we can't have that happen at the high school level, at the grassroots level, and at the youth sport level. We really have to work on that control piece. So being explosive off the line of scrimmage, and we see this a lot when we have kids trying out for under 18, right? They're really getting into their developmental stage in football with that grade 10, 11 year. And we're seeing their explosiveness off the line of scrimmage. They are always just big and strong and throw guys around. But we have to work on being explosive off the line of scrimmage. And all their movements, I use the term lots, and we have this gargantuan kid from Calgary, Braden Walls, and he is just flailing all over the place all the time, and he's so big and so strong. I said, Braden, what we have to do is play within our cylinder. We have to play within our cylinder. We can't be all over the place because you're just wasting movements. We have to play within our cylinder and be very precise in all of our movements. Relentless motor. There's a lot of guys I like to talk about that with relentless motor. Reese Cox, another one of those kids, I think just has an unreal relentless motor. Unfortunately, he's going north to the U.S. but the kid just doesn't stop. He's 100 miles an hour all the time. Eric Wachowski has a relentless motor. It's always going, always going. I have some clips that I'll show you guys about that. We also have Garth Knitting, a guy we were fortunate enough to get from the Hilltops. Scott had the, I don't want to say pleasure, but unfortunate, you guys had to play against him for a few years, and that guy's motor just doesn't stop. He's like a little fire hydrant. And you just see his feet moving all the time, and it's just making plays for us. Playing within our system. So with the University of Regina Rams, we have a very complicated system. Coach Gray does a great job of installing that system, but what he does another great job at is dumbing down the system for our guys, especially in the front. So he makes a lot of calls that they're going to tell him where to go. They're going to tell him to go weak, they're going to tell him to go strong, they're going to tell him to go A, B, C, or D. Do we make some mistakes? Well, yes, we do make some mistakes. Also, we have to get better at that. But we have to have these guys play within our system. We can't have cowboys. Okay, cowboys are going to get us in trouble. Especially with the gap cancellation system that we run, we have to be able to look after this. Okay, we have to look after your gap, and we have to be confident in doing that. Moving forward, can we trust you? That's one that that's really high on my list. Can we trust you to do the right things in a tight game? Can we trust you to take that double team all day? Can we trust you to play your gap responsibility? Okay. Can we trust you to win a one-on-one? That's one thing we have to get better at as well. We have to win more one-on-ones when we get that opportunity to get to the quarterback. Playing for the guy beside you, that's something that I hold very true to myself. Again, having played the game a little bit, I think if you have a good cohesive group and you're able to play for that guy beside you, man, that makes a world of difference. Then they're putting blood, sweat, and tears on that field every day together. And that's something that I really value, and I think that our guys are going to start to value as well too. And respect the game, as I mentioned early on. I respect this game like you wouldn't believe. I really feel that this game brought me through some tough times and continues to help ground me in my life. My wife probably feels like I'm around the game too much sometimes with 3 kids, but you know, I really feel like this game grounds me to the point where I hope to be able to teach that to the up-and-coming university youth sport players as well as the grassroots players. You know, I give back to the grassroots. I go to the Kelly Bates camp every year. I've been part of that, Humboldt for years and years and years. Go back and help those rural kids and want to see them get better and see them play at the next level. Let's see them play at junior level, youth sport, even high school for that matter. Going up to Spring League this year, now that I'm new residents of the north or of the south here, you know, I'm part of Spring League hopefully, and you know, give back to that community now too, and as well as the under 18 that I've been a part of for way too long, but still a part of. So something as well that I also look at is kind of a pre-snap read. I think we take this for granted a lot, the defensive line play that we do. Our guys we just kind of force them to go up and just make a play. But I think as I talked about being a technician, what we have to do is we have to look at the things prior to the snap of the ball. We have to look at the down and distance. Okay? Coach Gray does a great job of stressing that to our guys. You have to understand that if it's 2nd and 6, put your ears back and go. Okay? If it's 1st and 10, you know, well, in our conference, you know, it might be past 2, but you know, we might have to change our stance up a little bit and be prepared for the run. Timing the score. We'll look at this. We'll touch back on the under 18 experience. We lose to Quebec a couple years ago, and our guys weren't doing a good job with the time on the score. They weren't recognizing what we had to do, that we had to get after the quarterback and get home on that. I think we do a better job at explaining that now and helping them through that now. But again, you as coaches need to do that as well too. You have to have scenario-based activities that's really going to help them work through time, score. Okay, there's 2 minutes left in the game. You're up by this amount. You're down by this amount. What do you have to do? Put your players in good position to be successful. The stance of the offensive lineman. Okay, that's going to explain lots. You know, if he's wide, if his hands are on his knees, if he's up, his head's up, we're probably going to see a run. You know, in high school, a lot of times when we see that kind of that wide base, hand in the ground, really leaning forward, more likely going to see pass. Again, with the RPO stuff, a little bit different. We're probably not seeing a whole bunch of that in the high school setting or the minor league setting. Again, we're starting to see a little bit of that, more of that now where we are, and we're starting to teach a lot of that to our guys. We have to recognize the stance. We have to recognize the splits. Okay, so U18 being the defense coordinator, send lots of pressure. Now we get to the finals. What happens? Teams tighten up on us, right? They want to take away that inside. What do we have to do? We have to work on the outside stuff now. We have to recognize. We have to have our guys come off and talk to us about the splits. Okay, their splits are tight now. Their splits are tight to the inside. Their splits are tight to the field side. Okay, might be going there, might be running there, passing there. Okay, so we have those conversations lots as well too. The big thing with young offensive linemen, I know Coach Neal's back here and he might kick me in the back, but a lot of the young offensive linemen show you what they're doing, right? They're looking at you. They're looking at the body part that they're going to attack just because that's what they have to do at that age. Our guys, again, we try to teach that a little bit. We tell them to look at some certain things, you know, look at their knees, look at their ankles, look at their elbows, look at those types of things. Get a cue of what's going to happen. But at the younger levels, really eyes don't lie. Eyes don't lie. So remember that again. If we get to the point where visors are legal, then the eyes no more. We have to look at the body parts. Hand pressure, the offensive lineman. More so when we're feeling more of that chip block, when we're feeling them on us and then chipping off and going to the next level, we really have to feel that pressure. Also, screen game. We feel that quick shock and then release and go. That's going to help us as well with the hand pressure of the offensive lineman. If we feel that light shot and then they're starting to move, we know what's going to happen. We know how to be screen, draw, anything like that. We feel that they anchor down and really stick us. Okay, that's pure pass pro. Okay. Personnel formations, again, you know, what's old is new and new is old. Now we see this heavy double tight end sets coming in, you know, potentially back in the 90s when I first kind of started coaching, you seen double tight, they're running the football. Now, double tight could mean pass as well too. So we have to talk about that. That's something we're going to do better this year with the U of R Rams. We're going to go over personnel and formations. We're going to talk about what formations they're heavy pass, heavy run out of. And we're going to teach that up to these young men and hopefully let them get better at that too and recognizing that. A little bit of 4 words that I like to use is scan, interrupt, predict, and react. Okay, so we're scanning the field all the time. We're going to interrupt what's going on. We're going to predict what's going to happen. We're going to react to what's happening because really playing defensive line is reacting. We have to read and react. We always talk about that. Especially in now with this heavy RPO game, right? Play action. Okay, we're seeing this. We have to react to that quickly. We have to recognize we have to go from a run now to a pass, okay, or from a pass now to a run. So we have to react to that stuff. Okay, so now as I mentioned, so moving more to the skills and drills type of this, I've really kind of kept it short. Unfortunately, I wanted to be able to video some of our indoor practices, but we didn't get it. We didn't have an opportunity to do it. So what I've done is I have a one-on-one session to kind of just be able to critique and go through that with you guys as well. But here I'm just going to give you some ideas of things you can do at practice, things that be able to help you to you know, some cues for these young football players, and just some words and terminology that I use. So first of all, we talk about stance and takeoff. So I refer to it as attack steps. Lots of guys just say get off, whatever. I like attack steps because that means we're attacking. We're getting up the field. We're going after it. We're getting crazy. We're getting aggressive. Okay, so I talk about attack steps all the time. So when I use that, that's just your foot movement. Okay. Our fit position or our hot. Our fit position or our hot is hands on torso. Okay, so we're getting our hands onto the torso of the offensive lineman. Our fit position is we're just fit. We're snug up with our offensive lineman. Just so you guys understand, everybody understands this, and we kind of get working through this. Our run defend technique is pretty well, you know, it's self-explanatory, and same with pass rush progression as well. Okay. So our stance progression, as I talked about, I think a stance progression is something that's totally underutilized in what we do. Especially, I look at going out to young camps and working at some of these young camps, and you know, I just don't think there's enough emphasis on our three-point stance. You know, we see these NFL guys, and then first of all, we see Jerome Curse coming in with that big 4-point stance. Everybody wants to play with the 4-point stance. Like, oh my God, no, we can't do this. It's killing us. We have guys coming in with 4-point stance. You know, I think if we have the basis of the 3-point stance down, we can move on from there. And you can add to that. So out of the 3-point stance, I really think, as I mentioned earlier, if you can develop a balanced stance. So a balanced stance is you're not so much weight on your hand, you have a bit wider base, and you're really able to use those attack steps to prevent the run. The jet stance now, that's like the sprinter stance. You get your butt in the air a little bit, you're getting up the field, pinning your ears back and going after the quarterback. So just to kind of go over that, again, I give you the steps that we can take with our feet shoulder width apart. You know, we stagger that foot dominant. Again, it comes down to terminology. You want to stick with the same terminology when you're talking to these young football players as much as you can, okay? If we say staggered feet, we talk about, you know, crapping in the woods. You know, we use that. Many of us use that. Bending our knees, getting down, simulated squatting position. Now, the big thing is a lot of players are left-handed but are doing everything right-handed because that's what we're telling them to do. So what I always do is when we get into this situation, I say, if you're left-handed, do everything opposite of what I'm talking to. And in a lot of cases, the young players they're like, okay, because my last coach wanted me to stay in the right hand. I said, be comfortable in that left-handed stance. We just kind of change it up. One thing that we find a lot as well is young players, keep that other hand down. So you're in that good tripod, in that good three-point stance. We have that other hand down. It's not up to attack. How long does that take to come from here to here? Now, if we have it up to attack, it's up to here right away. Up to here right away. We like to focus on our hands above our eyes, getting extension and pushing all the time. So, catchwords that I do use are spring-loaded. When we're in that spring-loaded stance, it's a good visual for them. They can think about it. I say, hey, it's like a slinky. You know, high school students are like, oh, I got to coach a slinky. It shows your age. But, you know, a slinky works as well. And then a low pad level. Something we preach all the time is low pad level. If you don't have the chute, you can put a piece of netting up or something over, go under the pad level, helps them keep it. Again, if you come out to our spring workouts, come see us, we use the chute, okay? We use the chute. And it's something that we'll be able to explain and show you again. I wish I could have some video to be able to show you. Unfortunately, I don't. So again, the stance progression is key. We have to really work through that stance progression. I talked about the tripod effect. So when we were down in Las Vegas for the coaches clinic, and the defensive line coach from Arizona, old fella, he reminds me, for those of you that know Kelly Bowers, he reminds me of Kelly Bowers and Greg Nesbitt together. He's super intense, super high energy. But he had a really good point about the tripod with your hands down on the ground. He goes, why would I be like this? Because my first motion is going to be like this. Why wouldn't I put it like this so I come up like this? Okay? It was kind of that aha moment. This makes sense. When I put my hand on the ground, I can be like this, like a sprinter, come up quick like this, rather than coming up wide like this. Okay, so it's keeping you tight within your cylinder. So that's something that we're going to work towards a little bit this year, is really having that tripod down, fingers down, coming up, attacking, rather than widening our base when we come out like this. Okay, kind of creating that flipper. Now we can stay tight within our cylinder. So again, stance drills, this is super elementary, but I think I value this a lot because, especially in high school, I've coached at the high school level, I coached at the high school level for a lot of years, coached the young guys for a lot of years as well too. You just don't have enough coaching. There's just not enough coaches, not enough bodies to be able to help in a lot of cases. So the more that you can see everybody, the better off you are. So I would always stand in the middle, have everybody circled around me, say get down into three-point stance, and then hold it. Hold it, go around, correct, give them a tap on the head when it looks good, adjust, tap on the head, go around. You know, it's something simple, but I really think that if we can manage this better in practice, then we're going to be better off in that as well too. I always state, make minor adjustments during practice, make major ones in pre-practice or after practice. Our practice time is so limited. Be it in high school, be it in youth sport, be it wherever. Your practice time is so limited. You want to practice the fundamentals that you have scripted out for that day. And I strongly suggest scripting out your practice plans as well too. With what you're going to do in your 20-minute block, if you're lucky enough to get 20 minutes. But make those adjustments after practice. If you're really having trouble with the young player that can't get the three-point stance, you can't afford to, I don't want to, I guess, punish, but you know, the rest of the group's not getting the coaching that they need because you're spending that so much time with that one person. Take that time after practice with them. They'll appreciate that because then they're going to be doing what they need to during practice. Pre-practice is a great time. I'm not sure a lot of high school coaches have the opportunity to pre-practice. I think it's kind of getting moved towards there a little bit. But do those adjustments in pre-practice as well too. Those are the times that you can work with those young players and help them through that. So again, stance, work through it every day. From the high school level to the youth sport level, I think it's key to our success on the defensive line is having a great stance. So we talked about our takeoff and our tack steps. Our first step, and again, this varies in your system, but what I like to do is our first step is always to our gap. So we're stepping to our gap. It allows less mistakes, especially in the high school level. It's going to allow less mistakes with our tackles, nose tackles, ends, rush ends, stepping to the gap, because most defenses are gap cancellation defenses. So now we're stepping to that gap. Okay, we're stepping to that gap. Again, I kind of put it out there. You take a picture of it, whatever. If you want the slide deck, I can send it to you. Not a problem at all. Just kind of work through it with them. Some of the key words that I like using when we're doing these takeoff and attack steps is like a jet plane or a helicopter. When you're coming out of your stance, do you want to be a helicopter or do you want to be a jet plane? So simple, works with the young guys, works with the old guys. The old guys kind of laugh at me and tell me I'm an old guy saying that, but the young guys really like it. It really hits for them because they're all like, oh, that's kind of awesome. Like, yeah, you know, like a jet plane, not a helicopter. And it's really easy for them to touch on that as well too. One thing with our steps when we're doing this, it's going to vary a little bit too, right? With that balance step, with that balance stance, we want a power, not a long power. Okay, because as soon as we have that long power step, what's going to happen, right? Our power base is no more. We lose that power base when we're defending that gap. Okay, so when we're coming out, we're defending that gap. It's power hands. Okay, power hands all the time. So we really want to work in that. Now, when we're in that jet stance, now we can kind of elongate a little bit, get our butt in the air, and really come up with that attack step. Okay. So our first step is our key step, but our second step is super important too. Okay. I think with our first step, we don't value our second step enough. Because our first step is to our gap, but then where's our second step taking us? Okay, to the other half of the man. Right? That's where we have to get our hands on the other half of the man. Otherwise we're in trouble. Okay. Again, reminding players to explode with their hips, shoot with their hands, and bring their feet. What I always talk about with the players is your hands are tied to your feet. If you want to walk like a marionette, that's okay. Because if you're moving this way with your first step, your hand has to come with you. Now, your next step, hand has to come with you. Okay, you have to keep your hands with your feet. And it's going to help force them to bring that initial shock and get that hop with them. Okay. If anytime you have a question, please stop me. I'll answer that. So takeoff drills, again, out of the 3-point stance, there's tons of things you can do. I think the easiest one at the high school and minor level is just to have guys lined up in a 3-point stance. Line of 4, most teams play that forefront. You have them out of the different stances. What you do is if you're fortunate enough to have a ball staff, you move the ball staff to get off the ball, but you coach them through the steps. Okay? So first of all, I say I'm taking a right power step, boom. I'm taking a left power step, boom. I'm taking a right 45 power, boom. Okay, so it's a 45 to the right, but it's a power step. Okay, so we do that. So we coach them through those different steps. So we go right power, right 45, right pull. Okay, so we kind of go by the offensive line, the old pull. That pull steps if we have to get around to play a game or something. Okay, same thing with the left. Left power, left 45, left pull. Just some terminology I like using. Simple, people get it really easy, and you know, I think it really works for getting through to these young players. The toughest part about some of this is when we're changing our stance is really focus on their explosiveness. Okay, over exaggerating the shock and the power level. So with the shock, what I mean is over exaggerating your hands through. A lot of guys don't like using hands above the eyes. I think if you can over exaggerate the hands above the eyes, this is going to help. This is going to help getting them used to firing those hands out. Again, we want to get away from firing out wide. We want to be tight. We don't want to draw from holsters because that was kind of the old thing in the old days, right? We draw from our holsters, right? We got to get away. We have to get away from drawing from our holsters now. We have to be drawing from up here. We're ready to attack. If we're able to draw from up here and get that shock, okay, attacking half or a third of the man every time, then that's going to put us in better shape. Now, if we're not doing that, and we're bringing from back here, that forces us a lot of times to lead with our head, and that puts us in trouble, right? So we want to, again, talking about foot tied to hand, shocking and stepping. Okay, shocking and stepping. So the fit position, it's very key, and the fit position of the hot is very key to your success as well too. So we've kind of worked briefly on our feet and our stance progression. Now our hand placement on the offensive lineman, okay, is key. As I mentioned, taking half that offensive lineman on is going to be better. I always talk about, do you want to fight 300 or 150? Right? Most guys are like, oh, 150, coach. And I'm like, okay, so it makes sense if you put it that way. Okay, so when we're coming off that hand placement, my aiming points with my hands every time, if I'm going half the man, is to go inside V, inside, outside, outside shoulder pad, outside. So it's coming step, inside V, outside shoulder pad. Okay. Some guys like inside, right on the chest. Okay, I'm not here, I don't know it all by any means. This is just what I teach and have had success with some of this as well too. And again, it's whatever you feel comfortable with, but the biggest thing is getting hands on that shoulder pad. We need to control that offensive lineman, and the only way we can do that is with great hands and great feet. Okay? Moving on to the next one, we talked about delivering that blow to the offensive lineman. Kind of briefed on that already. You know, that V of the neck, I'm key on that. Coach Moser from the U of S, I think he's one of the greatest defensive line coaches I've ever coached with. He always talks about that V of the neck. If you miss with that shock, you're going to get him right in the Adam's apple. Okay, again in the gut, in the throat. That's probably going to hurt just as much too. Maybe want to delete that. But that's the thing, right? If you miss with that initial shock, you're going to get it. You're going to get it. Big thing is we get the hands on the harness. Get our hands on the harness, and then we want to get that full extension and really press and roll, press and roll. The problem a lot of times is when we get that fit or that hot position is it's hit and we're up. We're up looking. What we want is we want to be fit, hit, and we just want to get extension. We want to have that good natural lean. The good natural lean is key for success on this. We talk about in all sports when you're in that good stance. Now we just have that natural lean, and that's going to create some momentum for you going forward. Okay. So again, we talk a lot about the stance because stance to the hands on the opponent is huge. The hot is just a word I picked up again from Coach Moser when I was helping him with the U of S Huskies. It was hands on torso, right? We're getting our hands on as quick as we can. He picked it up from the University of South Carolina, I believe it was. Or also known as the fit, it depends what you want to use. After explosion out of the stance, again, we're shooting our hands in a violent manner. We talk about violent, we talk about not punching to, but punching through. Right? Those are the terms that we use, punching through our opponent. Some folks yell, put a hole in them. I'm more just punching through them. Okay? It still kind of serves the same idea. Again, but focusing on the targets. So when we get to our winter workouts and when we start those, we're going to focus on the bag and we're going to focus on attacking our aiming points. And we talk about our aiming points being our shoulder and our V of our neck, but we're also going to attack the inside of the chest pad just because of some of the defense that we run in Coach Gray's defense. So again, we talked about this with our gap foot attacking, grabbing the outside shoulder pad and grabbing the inside chest plate. I just went over that as well. And it's just getting that good press in there. Once this is done, we talk about that strong bench press. It's just a good reminder for these athletes that they should all be doing some type of push-ups, bench press, whatever they need to do to get bigger, stronger. We're able to just use that key term, bench press and press and press and press. Okay? And again, we continue to use that terminology, and anytime we're able to use that, just press, 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 and they get used to that press. Okay? This is a bit of a different matter. The low power position, again, is that good natural lean that we talked about earlier. We're in that good low power position. We're pressing, okay? We're moving our feet with us, of course, though. A little bit older, slower now. It's tough to show. But again, keeping that good low pad level. Always discussing the good low pad level. As soon as we play high, that's where the dead guy in the sky, okay? Then we're in trouble, okay? Playing out of square. Okay? We talk about playing out of square quite often. As soon as you get out of square, that's when we get into trouble. especially in run defend. We want to be square in that run defend. We want to press to our gap. We want to look after that responsibility. As soon as we get turned, that's going to create some seams for the offensive line to make some plays, get up to the linebacker. So we want to play out of square. Okay, so we use that term playing out of square. So a really simple drill to work on the fit position, you know, I've used it for years with young guys. The older guys, not quite as much anymore, but it's simple. It gets used to them. They're on their knees. They're face mask to face mask. One is just pressing to the target spots. So on the hit call, it's boom, hit, boom, hit, boom, hit. Last one's hit and hold, then he sits, get a good lean, and you correct. I think it's just a great drill. You can go 5 to the left, 5 to the right, and 5 head up, whatever your choice is. Again, it's got to be a quick progression. It's got to be hit, 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 hold. On the hit hold, that's where you can quickly adjust. And usually what they do is they'll self-adjust because like, oh yeah, this isn't right. I'm not leaning. I'm not getting that full press as well. Again, as we talk about the attack position, when you're bringing your hands at the same time, we really have to work on that press and that punch. Remember, punching through. After the 15 are done, then we move into a good 2-point stance. Go through the same progression. We just want them to get that good feeling of getting that press, that hot, and getting their hands on. The big thing is working on those aiming points. Getting used to attacking the shoulder and the V of the neck. Right? Lots of folks are taught, just get up there and push them back. Okay? We're past that point now. The only bull offensive linemen are taught to chop you down and try to bull rush them, hit your hands away, do lots of different things. We have to be able to give these guys opportunities to be successful in everything they're doing as well. So we continue to work through that progression. We go through the 15, 5 to the left, 5 to the right, 5 to the middle, same thing. Then we move on again to the last progression out of the 3-point stance. I think if we can do more skills out of a 3-point stance, that's going to help us get better out of playing in that 3-point stance. Again, we stress not being that helicopter. We want them to work. We want to give them those quick hit words that they're just going to process quick. Same thing, we can work on out of our stance, boom, hit, boom, hit, boom, hit. 3, you're done. Okay? Then you move on to the next guy. I know in a lot of high schools, your defensive line consists of maybe 4 or 5 guys, maybe 6 guys, and 3 of them are playing both ways. So this is all quick movement stuff that's going to help them on both sides of the ball a little bit too. So my run defend mentality that we got to talk over with our dudes, and you know, I kind of live by this. One man can't block me. I have to go into this battle, this war, that one dude can't block me. Okay. Everything that he does, I'm gonna beat. Okay. 2 men can't move me. Okay. I don't get into double team stuff today. I just not enough time. But we talk about 2 men can't move me. Okay. Especially in high school football, we said double team guys get blown down and get on roller skates. You know, we have to really drill that into them. 2 guys can't move. We teach them some skills to do that. You know, we teach them how to rip through, not hunker down and fall. You lose ground, you hit the ground. We try to get away from that a little bit as well. Take off hips, hands, and feet to gain the heel of the offensive line. So now with all this different type of the RPO, play action, whatever you want to call it, we want to play to the heels of the offensive lineman, right? We're just not happy being in the gap anymore. We're going to play to the heels of the offensive lineman. We want to force that running back to cut when he's uncomfortable, move when he's uncomfortable. If we can play to that pressure and play to their heels, that's going to force them to be uncomfortable. That's what we ultimately want, is them to be uncomfortable. And then shoot, separate, escape, and tackle, right? Shoot those hands, shoot those feet, separate, escape, and then tackle. So the big thing that we always do in the run defend mentality is we rip to finish. Okay, so we do arm under to finish every time. Then we're playing at the heels. So I talk about that, and I see we finish, we go tail to tail. Okay, we're tail to tail on that. We're ripping to finish, tail to tail. Okay. All that means is we're pressing, we're pushing, we're ripping through, and we're finishing tail to tail with the offensive lineman. So that's this heel line that we're attacking every time. So as I mentioned, defending the run's changed, right? It's changed a whole lot. From when I played football, man, it was I formation, pound you in the face. We're gonna see the odd toss from the fast running back. You know, Neil Hughes, he's gonna run the toss against the Hilltops and gash them, or U of S, or whoever it was. That's what we've seen. Actually, the Rams didn't run, let's be honest, they pass all the time. So, still beat us, but regardless. But that's what's changed. But now we're seeing that read option, that zone. Point of attack is kind of coming back. You look in the Super Bowl, you see the San Francisco 49ers, right? They brought that big fullback in, lots of point of attack, some great blocking schemes that they put in. Combo blocking now, right? As defensive linemen now, we're learning all the time too about the different combo blocking that's happening. We have to understand what the offensive lineman's doing as well too. We have to be prepared, okay? We have to say, oh yeah, you know, they're chipping off here, they're doing this. We have to put our time into offensive learning as well. Great thing that I try to do whenever we go to a coach's clinic. I try to attend an offensive line session, see what they're doing. We went to Charles Bentley. I don't know if he was great, but he did a good job. It helped me understand a little bit what they're teaching now as well too. You know, we have a wealth of knowledge in Sheldon Neal as well too. I can always hit him up, but then it turns into an argument, and it is what it is. Which neither of us win, so it's in here. Again, defensive ends are now taught different techniques, right? So our big thing this past season was the RPO. Man, what did we do? Did we shuffle? Did we 50-50? Did we do this jab step? And finally Coach Grady goes, we are 50-50. And we're like, okay, we're going to 50-50. And it took us to week 10? Yes. Like our last week we finally got it. And we worked on it every day. We had to work on it with our linebackers, with anybody that was coming from pressure. We had to work on that 50-50 and the proper technique to be able to defend that zone run. Right? We have to force, right? So that quarterback's looking potentially at the linebacker or the end. It all depends on what their scheme is. Right? So they're going to read that person. Now all of a sudden they go backside and we're coming up and we're surfing or shuffling. And then our guys just weren't quick enough to be able to come back around. So we decided that 50-50 technique's going to work best for us, and you know, it ended up helping us contain some of the quicker quarterbacks in Canada West. The serve technique or the shuffle technique is one that's been taught for years. It definitely has its merit. You look at a lot of teams in the NCAA, they still serve or shuffle, whatever you want to call it. That's just playing to the heel line of the tackle, not shuffling past the center, and we're down and we're doing that good shuffle technique, coming across with eyes up, watching where the mesh point or the handoff is happening. Then being able to transition back if we're chasing out here or going down here. Now, so this has been a big change. So defensive tackles, right? Defensive tackles on the inside have always just been, we're gap fillers, man. We're just standing there, we're just holding our gap integrity, we're holding our gap responsibility, this is all we're doing. Now, like, we have to become penetrators now, right? These guys are so quick and so fast, and the offensive line we play against is so big. We have to penetrate that gap because we just can't go, you know, it's to be quite honest with you, we can't match up with a lot of dudes. We have to use our speed and our quickness against a lot of these guys. So, a lot of keys to our good run defense, great gap step. Okay, I really feel like our great gap step is something that's going to happen and be successful for us. Anytime we step to that gap, get our good hands on, and get that good hot, okay, we're in great position. Low pad level, okay? Again, as soon as we're up, looking in the sky, we're in trouble. You got to teach our guys, all of our players, from the lowest level to the highest level, get your hands on, get that good natural lean, and just press it. Be explosive off the line of scrimmage. Speed kills. Any offensive line coach is going to tell you, if you have a quick guy, he's going to be tough to beat. But now if you have a big, strong, quick guy, he's even going to be tougher to beat. Okay. Get your hat in the gap. We talk about that all the time. We stress this at every level that we're at. If your hat's in that gap, that's going to cause that running back to think twice, right? Because he's seen a different color. He's seen a different color. Okay. Active feet, active hands. We've touched on that as well too. To put that all together, you have the perfect offensive or defensive lineman. Is that going to happen all the time? Well, we're sure going to try to create that. Again, we have to have them working through these systems as well too. Run defend drills. These are just a couple drills that I put together. This zone run defend drill is something I think is really easy to teach in high school. Basically, what you have is you have defenders engaged with an offensive player. You have 3 bags set up that are staggered. On the hit call, you're pressing the offensive lineman over these bags, forcing you to pick up your feet, get out of the garbage, but also get used to working away from your gap. Because again, ultimately they're trying to stretch you out of that, right? So it's forcing you to press and move at the gap. A gap's here, the guard in the center move over there, A gap's still over there, right? We have to be able to move with that. So that helps them a little bit. Again, we're simulating that end. We're simulating that, working down the line of scrimmage. Okay? Point of attack, this is simple, this is old school, but man, is it fun if you do it the right way with these young players. Again, you don't have to have a lot of collision, but basically what it is just one-on-one point of attack, you against you, hold your gap, get your hands on. You can start with your hands on, you can start in a good 2-point stance, you can do lots of different things, but it just helps point of attack blocking, getting used to pressing, getting used to moving your feet, getting used to shooting your hands. You know, a couple simple things. I'm actually just in the process of creating like a drill library. One of these coaches is down there, he says, if you're a defensive line coach, man, you better have a drill library because you shouldn't come out to practice in your script and run the same shit every day. And I'm like, hey, that's a great idea. So I'm starting now to build this drill library. You know, I've kind of got through the run defense stuff, now I'm just working through the pass stuff. And again, my wife's not real happy because I'm doing it at night, but it is what it is. But to creating this library is, like, I'll share it with you. I have no problem. I'll teach you, I'll show you what these things are. But having this library now is going to be able to help my year's practice plans be done. Okay, we need to work on this. I'm going to the library. Here's this and this. Okay, so just a little FYI. If you want to hit me up, my email, and you can call me. It's okay. It doesn't happen very often.
His cell phone.
It doesn't happen, yeah. I don't know if I answer, but you can call me. Yeah. So the chase and shuffle technique, again, this is for more of that RPO stuff. Again, it depends what you want to do. So it could be chase, it could be shuffle, it could be 50-50, it could be jab steps. It's all the same. It's a very simple drill where they come off the line of scrimmage. Partners standing behind the line of scrimmage. Again, the movement comes. You hold them, okay? You point them, and then they go. If you hold them, they shuffle, or they jab, or the 50-50. If you point, they just chase. It's super simple. You don't need a lot of time. If you're tight in practice, if you're playing an RPO team that week, it's a super easy drill. Okay, super easy drill. Pass rush, man. I always like saying this, okay? I don't know, you guys want to take like a 2-minute break, 5-minute break? Couple-minute break? Am I boring you? No? Okay, good. Keep going. Let Mark power through. Yeah, keep your eyes open. Okay. Pass rush, again, big thing, right? This is pin, stop the run, have some fun. That's one of the ones I use all the time, pin your ears back. These are the things that our guys live for. Why do they live for it? Because that's where the money is, right? That's where you make your money in the pass rush. Great thing is, do you have 10 catches in a year? Or do you have 10 sacks in a year? What's bigger? 10 sacks in a year, right? That's kind of what we look at. That's where you're going to make your money. Okay, so if there's a good receiver out there, we can talk to him and say, hey man, if you're going to have 10 catches this year, what about 10 sacks this year? Right? That's going to be something crucial for us. We won't do that to you, Coach Stroeder. We won't do that to you guys. But, so yeah, the ability to rush the passer is essential, right? For a good defense, we kind of found that out this year. We were able to get after the passer a little bit. Coach Gray does a hell of a good job of scheming up against teams. And we got after, we were leading I think we ended up leading our conference in sacks at the end of the season. Close, okay, close, very close. We were leading our conference for most of the season. But it must be a mindset, right? Like we have to really tell our players that you have to want to get to the quarterback. You have to want to disrupt the quarterback. You want to be, get after him. And there's other words I can say, it's just not appropriate because we're being taped right now, so I'm just going to hold off on those. But the biggest things is we want to have active feet, okay? We want to have active hands, but we also want to be able to pressure the quarterback, keep our quarterback in the pocket, properly pursue the quarterback, and do the proper things, as well as we have to recognize potentially it's a run assignment as well. So again, we can talk about all these great pass rushers in the CFL and NFL. Coach Hall had a great pass rusher this year, great group of them actually, and they really get after the Q. Basically, what it is, You know, a lot of defensive line coaches are going to say, really, what you need are 2 great pass rush moves, 1 great counter. That's going to make your money for you. Okay? But really, you first have to develop that solid base of technique. You have to develop getting those hands on your opponent, being able to use your hand fighting moves. Coach Nesbitt, huge hand fighter, as we all know. Brings lots of great things to the hand fighting piece. And you know, he's had some good dudes out of the program as well too. So some of the different pass rush techniques, again, we're getting over from calling it the rip. And now it's called the arm under. Okay? The arm over. It's, you know, the old swooping swim is no more. Okay? It's more of a powerful, quick move, getting our hands over our opponent. Long arm and bull rush. I think bull rush is pretty prominent when it comes to any type of young football player as well as high school football player. One maneuver I think that isn't taught and can be taught at that level is the long arm. Right? We really focus on that long arm, getting it leaning, and jacking that other opponent up. Again, we have some video of that I can show you guys on here as well too. Yeah. Now, 5 minutes? Oh, okay. All right, so don't do the spin. Here we go. Pass rush objectives. Force the QB to throw, right? First read. We want the QB, we want to disrupt the first read for the QB. Okay? We want to restrict his vision. Hands up. That's why you see a lot of quarterbacks practicing with tennis rackets in their face now. We want to get our hands up, bodies in there. We want to contain the quarterback. Okay, we don't want him to roll outside the pocket. We want to keep him in that pocket. Hey, we want to get the sack, man. We want to get that forced fumble. We want to manufacture interceptions for our back end. And we want to master the art of hand fighting. We're going with Coach Nez. Okay? We really want to do that. It really helps us in the pass rush technique. So we're going to rip through this. I can talk about it with you another time. Okay, a couple things, bottom line. Have a plan. A lot of players say just do it, or a lot of coaches just tell players just do it. You have to have a plan. You have to have a plan for your pass rush. Don't disco. I'll show you in the video. Or we will get to the video right away. Don't disco. Okay? Don't hesitate. Get vertical. Get up the field real quick. Attack a third of the player. Why would we have to attack half when we can attack the third if we know down a distance what's going to happen? Okay. Never let the O-line get their hands on them. Of course, bigger dudes, they're going to be able to control you. Master one move and one counter. Okay, I think that's good for high school. Become a great hand fighter. I mentioned that again. Okay. I think we can go over this in our video time. Retz, if you could set up the video for me. Oh, good guy. Good guy. Okay, so we're going to see, I talked about our little fire hydrant right here. Okay, Garth Knitting, it's Cam Cross, and Brandon McKibben. Okay, you guy we got from the north. We're going to see here, now we see Garth, again, not a lot of runs. We see a heavy run team here. Okay, we see Garth getting vertical up the field, creating some havoc. Okay, quick off the ball, again, using his leverage, ripping to release. Gets a little bit far upfield, does a good job here getting his hand in there though. McKinnon, 92, works down a little bit, kind of gets washed, works back, comes underneath. That's a good job by those two. What we see here is how the offensive line now are running that zone to the weak side. Okay, what we need to do, okay, we need to really protect, get up the field and help out. Cameron does an okay job and gets tied up a little bit. Okay, we'll work through this. Sorry, I'm working through this, but I apologize. Again, opportunity here for us to be successful, bring some pressure. Now we see Wachowski using his eyes, taking a great first step. Hands are on the defender. You see how he ejects that tackle. Now he recognizes the draw, okay, and now he gets in his horse and makes a play. Okay. Garth doesn't do a great job. He's tied up at that center, and McKibben kind of gets washed out, gets blocked by two dudes. But I think Eric does a great job. He's this for us all year. You know, off the field, plays with great leverage, off, makes a tackle, had a hell of a game for a fifth-year guy. Again, another heavy run team. We see this inside run. Now, that's perfect. We see Garth. Garth has to extend a little bit more in the middle. He does a pretty good job. He's against a pretty good offensive lineman, young guy. He extends, presses, forces that outside, and then we get some fill from our outside corner. Okay. It's tight end. Now we see our other end working, kind of gets tied up. But again, we see that forcing him to the outside. Again, 92 on the other side. This is where we talk about 50-50. Okay job. Again, now if that quarterback keeps and goes, we could be in trouble. He square up a bit more, but he keeps his eyes. Now he's got to get downfield. He was on a bad wheel though too, so I'll give him that. Same thing again, moving forward. Now we have that big dog I was talking about. Here's the big man. 68. And there's that big cat right there. Okay. Now we watch him. Okay. Just pressing, getting off the ball, but what's the problem? Problem if you haven't played in all years, he plays too high. Okay. As soon as he plays high, he can't transition quick enough. Okay. If you recognize it, can't get off the ball. Okay. He's got to play lower, and he's got to be quicker. Okay. Again, with Chelsea, same thing, kind of gets eaten up by a pretty good guard. Probably go in the first round of the CFL draft this year. But again, that big man's got some work to do, but he's going to be special. He's going to be special. Okay, one-on-ones, this is what I want to show. So we talk about great quicks, great hands, great leverage. With Chelsea right there, off the ball, shot. The big thing what he runs into trouble with is he goes flat to him. Okay, goes flat to him. We take a third of that man, we lay that long arm into him, we're in much better shape. Again, playing a little bit too high. Okay, now the second rep that he gets, boom, tries to spin. Again, we need to not spin sometimes. Dead in the water doesn't try to get that offensive line to move his feet enough, and then he's dead in the water. Again, we're trying to work too. This is the reason I want to show you guys this is, hey, we're working every day too to get better. Right? We're working through this every time. So now our spinning machine, Matt Moore, okay, tries to spin against one of our best offensive linemen. Okay, gets upfield, but again, doesn't force Andrew to move his feet enough for it to work at all, and doesn't clear. Just not a great job. But I think that Matt's got to work. Now we see Matt get his hands on Andrew, who's bigger and stronger than him. But now what he has to do is he has a great inside. Now he's got to get that arm off and work to the cue. And that's something we're going to continue to work on. He shouldn't be playing in there. He should be playing on the edge. Okay. So 51's up next. Paxton inside. Guy's been with us a long time. And Paxton, just playing high. Playing high, smaller guy against him. Comes with the arm over. Doesn't get a good shot with his inside hand at all. Doesn't force Jerry to open up at all. And, it's not a win, but he's getting better, working his feet through. Again, we talked about staying square. That's square. We gotta skate those hips. We like to use that word, skate those hips a little bit as well. Same thing. Now, just being tough on the other guy, getting upfield, getting his hands on him, pressing him up. Again, he gets pressed out, and that's something he's got to work on. Now, the young guy we're excited about right here, Zach Hirschmiller. Zach's working. Zach's putting the natural lean. Zach wants to be a big, strong guy. Zach has to become more of a technician. So we see him there, he bowls him. What does he try to do again? He tries to bowl the big guy again. We want him now to be able to arm over, arm under quickly, transition now to the quarterback. Brandon McKibben's going to the regional combine for us, playing boundary end here. Again, quick hands, you just got to work. This kid had been off football for a couple of years, so he's shaking off the rust. He was fantastic for us at the end of the season. Other than being nicked up a little bit, but you see his quickness, trying to swipe those hands, get upfield, forces the quarterback to step up in the pocket. This time, does a great job with the long arm. When we talked about how the offensive line was taught and how to get that long arm off, right? You're going to chop it off and for him to fall down. Okay. Now, this is the last one. Now, we see what happens here. The big man, being relentless. Okay, the little fire hydrant's relentless. Just fighting, a little bit slow out of his stance, but he just keeps fighting and gets upfield. And it just, these are the kids that you want. He's short, he's tough. He'll fight in a phone booth with you, but he's going to make some plays. Gentlemen, I appreciate your time this evening. If you have any questions or concerns, comments, Betsy, where's the... Yeah, hang on. Okay. I apologize for going over. As I said, I'm super passionate about this game, and once I get talking, these guys get stuck to listen to me all the time too. You see me at the bottom. Feel free to email me. You can call me or text me. And thank you for the evening and taking the time out of your evening to get better. Thank you.